Here is a quick example of how to use the tag selector. So we'll go ahead and drag in our first component. Let's use the table here and have it take up a certain amount of space. And then we'll go ahead and choose our data source. So I'm going to choose our images data source. This is actually a Google Sheet, but keep in mind that the tag selector will work with any of the data sources. And then we'll go ahead and choose a function. So we're going to use the listing images. So this will show you all the listing images in our data source. And then let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to hide a bunch of fields that we don't want. And then I'm also going to, you'll notice that there's a link field here. So this is pointing to an image URL. So I'm going to hide this, but I'm going to reference it. I'm going to add an image component. And simply for the image URL, insert each row's link field. And that will now add an image, basically powered by that link column. Let's go back to the table. And let me just move the image to the far right. And I think we're good to go here. So now let's add another component. Let's add a form. And in this form, so we'll first choose a function. So data source and function. So we'll have it make a change to the images data source that we're working with. And then we'll choose a function, so the update listing images function. And then we'll go ahead and let's update this title real quick. We'll change it to just say edit tags. Let's call the component the same thing. And then we'll go ahead and choose some fields. So we already have row number in here. That's required when you're working with a Google Sheet. And then we'll go ahead and choose our categories column, which houses all the tags. And you'll notice that the table on the left also has the category. So there's various tags in here. And then for row number, let's go ahead and pre-fill the row number with each of the table's selected rows row number. So when I select one of these rows, it'll pre-populate the row number accordingly. And then let's hide this so the user doesn't have to worry about it. And then for category, we'll go ahead and choose user completes a component field, and we'll choose the tag selector. Now I could use this section here to configure some if I'm going to specify my own tags manually. But I'm actually going to go into the configuration so that I can actually have this tag selector be powered by a function instead. And then the function that I'm going to use is going to be from the images database. And the function is called list categories records. So this is essentially going to power my list of all available categories. And then we'll come in and set up the actual display names and values that we're using for each of the categories from this function. So for the display name, we're going to choose this option's name. And then for the actual value too, we're going to do the same thing and use the name. Now, keep in mind that let's say that you're working with like a company name and company ID. You could have the display name of the tag be the company name, and then the actual value that you pass through could be the company ID. So these could be varying. Last thing I'm going to do is specify a default value. So when I select a row, I want this category to pre-populate with the existing values from this table. So I'll go ahead and choose to set a binding for the default value and simply reference the table on the left, selected rows, category. And since this is a Google Sheet and these are going to be, this is a string field, I'm going to check this box that says convert value to CSV string. And that's it. So let's go ahead and publish this and take a look. So now I have this table here. When I click in, I can see the existing tags on the right-hand side. And then if I click into here, I see all the available tags here. So I can maybe add a couple more here, and then that's it. And then I can submit this form and I'm done. So that's how you use the tag selector component.